Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday again, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week, the pre-patch hit the PTR, meaning that anybody can get on and test the class changes, the level squish, 1 to 50 leveling, including the new XL's Reach starting area, and the pre-patch event. You do not need to be in beta in order to do this. As long as you have a WoW account, you can get onto the PTR and start testing. Just be prepared for it to be a little wonkier than live servers, more server restarts, more disconnects, more lag, that kind of thing. But if, especially, there's lots of reasons to play PTR, but especially if you're really undecided on what class you're going to play in Shadowlands, this will let you test out the new versions of the classes, and some of them are quite different. So if you want to test on the PTR and you've never done it before and you don't know where to start, first you will need to opt in your account. So go to your Blizzard account management page. You can get there by going to worldofwarcraft.com. Top right hand corner will log you in, and then you can go to your account settings. You want to go to games and subscriptions, and then find the create a public test realm account button here. After you have done that, you should now have a PTR option in the drop-down menu of your launcher that you find above the play button of the WoW section. So select that, and then the play will turn into install. You should be able to install the PTR and then play it once it's downloaded. A question that I have seen pop up a lot in the last couple of days is, does this mean that pre-patch is like imminent for live servers? Does this mean that it's really soon? And we don't know, but I would guess probably not. I would still be very, very surprised to see pre-patch on live servers before like October. It could happen, but I would be surprised. In my opinion, I'd guess that they put the pre-patch PTR up really early because of how many changes are in it with the level squish and the class changes, to give people time to kind of log in and test out those things and supply feedback before Shadowlands is finished development, while there's still time to make changes. It's also kind of a self-serve way for people to answer questions they have, such as what level will this alt squish to, and what kind of abilities will I have in this spec, and what level do I get certain thing, and what level can I equip gear from this expansion, and when can I queue for this dungeon? All of that is on the PTR and ready for testing, so if you cannot find the answer to a burning Shadowlands question, you might be able to find it out for yourself. Circling back to the pre-patch event, and spoiler alert for anybody that is avoiding details about what the pre-patch event is going to be, I will leave this icon on the screen for as long as I'm talking about it, so you can kind of skip ahead until that goes away. It's a Scourge invasion, again. I'm quite excited because I didn't play during the last one. They apparently did a Scourge Invasion event for the release of Naxxramas in patch 1.1, and then again for the Wrath of the Lich King pre-launch event. But I didn't play back then, so this is going to be fun. The part that's coming back is the zombie plague. It won't be up 24/7, but there may be zombies 24/7. Essentially, for a little bit, every couple of hours, there will be NPC zombies that can infect actual players, and then the players can become zombies, which can then infect other players. So as a zombie, you are hostile to both Horde and Alliance players. You can attack them with your zombie abilities. If you kill somebody, they will come back as a zombie, and players taking damage from zombies will get this disease debuff that, if it stacks up to 10, will turn you into a zombie as well. If you start getting stacks of that debuff and you just have no time for any of this zombie nonsense, you can see an Argent Healer NPC who can cleanse it off of you. Otherwise, if it stacks to 10, or if you die to a zombie, you're going to be a zombie yourself. I think this looks really fun, if a bit disruptive, but pre-patch is one of those things that's kind of over before you know it, and I would rather have something crazy and disruptive to kind of make some wacky memories from than something that is safe and easy to overlook that I will have forgotten about before it even ends. The zombies individually don't do very much damage, and the disease also doesn't seem to stack up very quickly, so it seems unlikely that you are going to be made involuntarily a zombie unless you get just absolutely swarmed, which, could happen. We'll have to see, but I think it'll be fun. On top of the plague, there will also be a quest line exploring the return of the Scourge and taking you to Northrend. Icecrown is under siege, and familiar old bosses from Northrend dungeons and raids will be returning as rare mobs in Icecrown. There has been data-mined catch-up gear that is very likely to drop from these rare mobs that has item level 100, equivalent to Nyalotha gear, so you'll be able to get catch-up gear for your alts to kind of set them up for Shadowlands. Hopefully the drop rate is better than what I've seen on the PTR, or they add some way to buy it with currency. There's currently a couple of currencies that you get from doing these things, but you can only use it to buy Argent Dawn rep tokens right now. Either way, that catch-up gear looks pretty good because not only is it a pretty decent item level, but you can wear it starting at level 30, which is, 20 levels earlier than the 50 that we're going to get squished down to. So not only just for setting up neglected old alts for Shadowlands, but maybe you have an alt that you didn't quite finish leveling. It should be doing pretty good damage in normal Nyalotha raid gear at level 30, so why not? In Shadowlands news this week, we have been uncovering more and more significant Covenant dungeon buffs. So by that, I mean within a specific dungeon, members of a certain Covenant can unlock extra buffs and sometimes skips. So as an example, in the Theater of Pain, which is a Maldraxxus dungeon, Necrolord players can activate banners to give a 5-minute buff, offering 10% versatility and 10% movement speed. So with all 3 of those banners, that's 15 minutes of uptime in that dungeon as long as you brought a Necrolord with you. Every Covenant seems to have at least one affiliated dungeon with different bonuses that you'll be able to activate. I kind of like this. It does feel like Blizzard is really doubling down on combat bonuses for Covenants. If you were hoping for them to scale back the combat powers that are tied to Covenants or allow for easier switching, I don't know if this is exactly a step in that direction. But I like the idea of being able to bring something extra to certain dungeons based on my Covenant choice, and I think it also provides an extra incentive for guilds to encourage a variety of Covenant selections across their roster, so that in any given Mythic Plus group, you probably have one person of the right Covenant. You know, there's 4 Covenants, there's 5 dungeon spots, you can probably squeak somebody in there, maybe not always, but a lot of the time. One of the fears, I think, with this is that it starts to impact pug invites, like perhaps you cannot get accepted to a group because they need, like, a Night Fae member, and that's not your Covenant. Given that only 1 member out of 5 needs to be the right Covenant to get the buff, and that you can probably still do the dungeon just fine without the buff, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal, but we'll see. In Live WoW this week, the Spirit of Eche'ro Ghost Moose Archaeology event, for lack of a better word, has rotated back in. So this is a Legion archaeology thing that only comes around twice a year. It's on a 6-month rotation and allows you to get this flying ghost moose mount. So if you do not have this mount yet and you want it, you have some Legion archaeology to do, I will link a guide with more information in the description. In my life this week, I went to pick up some cherry shrimp for my planted aquarium recently, and then instead came back with some endlers, which I've never kept before. They've been very fun so far. They've settled in very nicely, and I like that they always seem to be doing something. Some fish just kind of like swim without any perceivable intent visible, you know, they're just kind of hanging out, but these ones always seem like they're up to something. And questions for this week, Katharina asks, can you see achievements in Shadowlands beta yet? And if so, are there any achievements related to getting into each of the different Covenants? So you do have achievements in Shadowlands beta. There is a new section for Covenant specific achievements. I looked through it and I don't see anything that's indicating more than 1 Covenant required. It seems like all of these achievements that we can see, at least, you'll be able to do within your one singular Covenant choice. That doesn't mean that there won't be something added down the road, but for right now, nothing yet. And Grey Malkin asks, what's happening to Uldum and the Vale of Eternal Blossoms in Shadowlands? Will they revert to their non-corrupted former selves? Perhaps with Zidormi allowing travelers to see the past, or are they staying as they are in 8.3? So I logged in and checked, and they are staying as they are in 8.3. So the default version for a max level character is the N'Zoth Assault Corrupted version, and then Zidormi is there, allowing you to turn it back to the Shaw-infested version of yesteryear. Those are the only 2 options. Keeping the assaults in some form seems like a good idea because it'll allow people to continue farming the mounts and pets and currencies and whatnot that they still need from assaults if they want to catch up on those things later. It would be kind of cute if they added a second option to Zidormi, allowing you to teleport it forward to like a current timeline version of the Vale where it's just very pretty and not corrupted in any way, but it doesn't seem like it would be used for very much. It would be mostly just to make us feel better. And that's been the week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer on one of these news videos, please leave it in the comments of the most recent one. Let me know what you think and have a wonderful, wonderful day.